Hey students, welcome to English class. In this class, we are going to start your poem To Sleep, and this is written by William Wordsworth. Now let us know the brief introduction about William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth is a British poet. William Wordsworth born on 7th April 1717 and died on 23rd April 1850. He was an English romantic poet who, with Samuel Taylor, helped to launch the Romantic Age in English literature with their joint publication of lyrical ballads in 1798. Wordsworth was a Britain's poet laureate from 1843 until his death, and he made his debut as a writer in 1787 when he published the sonnet in the European magazine. Wordsworth defines poetry as the spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions and recollected in tranquility. And this is the brief introduction about the poet William Wordsworth. Now, let us move towards your poem. Before going to the poem, let us understand the meaning of the words. Let us learn some of the words with their meaning. In that first one, leisurely. What is the meaning of leisurely? Leisurely means in a slow and relaxed manner, in a calm manner, or in a slow and relaxed manner. Next one is murmuring. Murmuring means making a low and continuous sound. Making low and continuous sound is known as murmuring. Next, melodious. The meaning of melodious is sweet sounding music is known as melodious. Next is uttered. What is the meaning of the word uttered? Uttered means made a sound or said something is known as uttered. Orchard. Orchard is a place planted with many fruit trees is known as orchard. Next, melancholy. The meaning of this word is with a sad mood or feeling is known as melancholy. Next, stealth. Stealth means a secret, a quiet and clever way of moving or behaving is known as stealth. Stealth means a secret move or a quiet and clever moving is known as stealth. Next, veer away. The meaning of veer away is waste away. Next, thee. T-H-E-E. The meaning of thee is you. In English, in Old English, thee means you. Y-O-U. Next, barrier. Something that prevents movement from one place to another is known as barrier. Next, last one is joyous. Joyous means full of joy or full of happiness is known as joyous. Next, listen and say aloud. Dear children, listen the word what I say and say aloud. In that first one is, here they have given the word with the rhyming word. In that first one is by. The rhyming word of by is sky. Next, bees. The rhyming word of bees is cease. In the same way, lie, cry. Melodious, trees. Lay, away or lay, day. Next, last one is stealth. The rhyming word of stealth is wealth or stealth, health. Here are the some of the words with their rhyming words. Next, warm up. For how many hours do you sleep every night? If you ask me, students, I'll sleep 8 to 9 hours. And what is your answer? Tell me, okay? Next, what will happen if you don't sleep for a night? What will happen, students? What will happen if you don't sleep a night? If you don't sleep a night, you will feel exhausted or tired. Now let us move towards your poem. Let us read a poem in which poet is unable to sleep for many nights. Let us see how he feels. Here The introduction of the poem. The poet is suffering from insomnia. That means the poet is troubled by insomnia. What is the meaning of insomnia here? Insomnia means a sickness of sleeplessness. He's trying to sleep but he couldn't do it. Where one cannot sleep, or where one tried to sleep but he couldn't. He unable to sleep is known as insomnia. The poet is troubled by insomnia, though he often no reason for his sleeplessness. He is evident that he is a troubled mind. He has not slept for the last 3 days tonight. Here in this poem, the poet tries to recall many things that is used to give him peace of mind or to get sleep. Let us read the poem and understand what all things he gone through to get sleep. Reading the text. A flock of sheep that leisurely pass by one after one, the sound of rain and bees murmuring, the fall of rivers, winds and seas, smooth fields, white sheets of water, and pure sky. I have thought of all by turns, and yet do lie sleepless, and soon the small birds melodious must hear, first uttered from my orchard trees, and the first cuckoo's melancholy try. Even thus last night and 2 nights more lay, and could not win thee sleep by any stealth. So do not let me wear tonight away without thee. What is all the morning's wealth? Come, blessed barrier between day and day, dear mother of fresh thoughts and joyous health. By William Wordsworth. Now let us understand the poem stanza wise. First stanza. A flock of sheep that leisurely pass by one after one, the sound of rain and bees murmuring, the fall of rivers, winds and seas, smooth field, white sheets of water and pure sky. Here in the first stanza, the speaker is speaking that he was unable to sleep. To get sleep, he was trying to imagine the beautiful things and the positive things, beautiful things in his mind to get peace of mind and to get sleep. In the first stanza, a flock of sheep that leisurely pass by one after another. That means a flock of sheep that are leisurely pass by one after another. The meaning of leisurely is in a slow and relaxed manner. The sheep are moving slow and relaxed manner. He was imagining that a flock of sheep that are leisurely passing by one after another. And the poet then he hears the sound of rainfall. The poet hears the sound of rainfall. He tried to imagining the sound of rain and the murmur of the bees. That is buzzing of the bees. He heard the sound of the bees in his imagination. And then he imagining hearing the sound of the river as it fall from height. It will get in a beautiful sound, right? He imagines hearing the sound of the river as it fall from the height. And also he imagines that scene in his imagination. And sound of wind blowing gently. And also poet imagines the sound of wind blowing gently. He could hear the sound of the waves of blue sky. He then imagines he could hear the sound of waves of blue skies, blue seas. He could hear the sound of waves of blue seas. Smooth fields, white sheets of water and pure sky. He then imagines the vision of smooth fields and white sheets of water and clear sky, pure sky. And in next stanza, I have thought of all by turns and still lie sleepless. The soon the birds melodious must hear, first uttered from my orchard trees, and the first cuckoo's melancholy try. What does it mean? In a second stanza, the poet says that he has thought about all the imaginary things, all the aspects that are he was imagined in a first stanza. In a second stanza, the poet says that he has thought about all the aspects of the environment which he described in a previous stanza, like the sound of rainfall, sound of bees, and the sound of the river falling from the height, and the sound of the wind. He imagines. After imagining all these things, and yet he is not able to get sleep. Although imagining these things also, the poet is not getting sleep. He was unable to sleep. He was just lying sleepless on his bed. And soon the small birds melodious must hear, first uttered from my orchard trees, and the first cuckoo's melancholy cry. The meaning of melancholy is, as I told earlier, with a sad manner or in a feeling. Here, the poet says that he thinks that he will soon have to hear the melodious songs of small birds from his garden, and also the sad sound of the cuckoos. Here the poet is afraid of getting morning. He requests sleep to come to him. Here the poet says that it is going to be morning soon. The melody of this bird in his orchard tree and the cuckoo's melancholy cry will soon be heard to the poet. That indicates it will be getting morning soon. But the speaker does not want this night to also pass by without sleep. Here, cuckoo's melancholy cry means a bird sounds in a sad manner. He requests sleep to come to him. In the third stanza, the poet explains. In the third stanza, the poet emphasizes the importance of sleep. That even this last night and 2 nights more I lay and could not win thee. The meaning of thee is you. In Old English, the meaning of thee is you. By any stealth. So do not let me wear tonight away. Without thee, what is all the morning's wealth? In the third stanza, the poet emphasizes, the poet explains, the poet says the importance of sleep. The poet says that he is not able to win sleep. Win thee. The meaning of thee is you. You refers to sleep. The poet says that poet is not able to win sleep last night and 2 nights more. That means last night also the poet is not got sleep, and before that night also, before 2 nights, those night also the poet is sleepless. That means the poet unable to sleep for 3 nights. You are passing by quietly in a stealth manner. Stealth. By any stealth. The meaning of stealth means, as I told earlier, the meaning of stealth is a secret or quiet and clever way of moving is known as stealth. The poet is telling to the sleep. The poet is telling to sleep that you are passing by quietly in a stealth manner, in a quiet manner, in a clever manner. The sleep it pass quietly in a clever way without reaching poet. The sleep is not reaching the poet. The sleep is quite cleverly moving from the poet. Without you, what is the morning's wealth. He was asking to the sleep that if you don't pass through me, if you don't get me sleep, what is my next day health and wealth? He was asking the sleep. The poet tells sleep that morning does not have much value if you don't able to sleep night before. If you don't sleep the night, the next day will not go smoothly. The next day will go dull. Therefore, sleep is very important for everyone. The poet is telling that if he couldn't sleep night, what will be his next day? How how his next day will go? How his next day will run? It will go dull. So he was worried of those things. The poet tells sleep that morning does not have much value if one is not able to sleep night before. Come blessed barrier between day and day, he also appeals to sleep to come to him. He invites sleep to him. The poet invites sleep to him. The poet invites the sleep. He says that sleep is blessed barrier which separate one day from the next. Between 2 days there is a gap. There is a gap. This gap is a barrier. That barrier is very good. If you sleep well night, your next day will go very nicely. That is, your next day will go very healthy. If you don't sleep a night, your day will go very badly. So he says that sleep is a blessed barrier. Blessed means it is a good barrier between 2 days. Between a day and between 2 days there is a gap, and that gap is a barrier, and it is very good for our health. The sleep that gives birth to new thoughts. If you sleep well, you'll get good thoughts. You'll get good thoughts and makes one feel healthy and fit. Means the sleep that gives birth to new thoughts, new thinkings, and that makes the person feel healthy, fit and active. Here the poet invites the sleep, and he says that sleep is a good barrier, blessed barrier between day and day. It is very important. The sleep is very important for us. Dear mother of fresh thoughts and joyous health. Here the poet is comparing the sleep to the mother. Dear mother of fresh air. The poet says that sleep is the mother of fresh thoughts, fresh thinkings, active nature and the joyous health. This sleep will bring fresh thoughts, and it also brings the good health, and it will make people more active to do the more work. And this is a poem by William Wordsworth. Summary of the poem. What is the summary of the poem? The poet Wordsworth describes how difficult it is for him to sleep. He writes that he has not able to sleep since 3 nights. He tries everything to fall asleep. Lying on his bed, he imagines a flock of sheep walking leisurely by. He thinks of patter of imaginary rain and murmuring of bees and the sound of river, wind and seas. He imagines beautiful green fields and the pure and perfect sky, that is clear sky. He says that he has thought of all the pleasant things one by one to bring sleep to himself. However, he has not been able to fall asleep. It is going to be morning soon. The melody of birds in his orchard tree and the cuckoo's melancholy cry will soon be heard. It has been 3 nights that he does not want this night to also pass by without sleep. He talks to sleep as if it were a living thing and tells it that morning does not have much value if one is not able to sleep the night before. He requests sleep to come to him. He does not want to remain asleep for another night. He says that it is sleep that separates one day from the next. It is sleep that brings fresh thoughts and joyous health. Here, in this poem, the William Wordsworth express or explains how important this sleep is. He explains about the importance of the sleep. Now let us solve your exercise part. Let us discuss. How do the sheep pass by? The sheep pass by leisurely. The meaning of leisure is, what is the meaning of leisure? Leisure means in a slow and relaxed manner. The second one, where do the small birds sing in the morning? They sing from the orchard trees. What does the word melancholy mean? It refers to a sad mood or feeling. For how many nights has poet been unable to sleep? The poet has not been able to sleep for 3 days. Here are some of the meaning of the words which comes under this chapter. I have discussed it earlier. Next, literature comprehension. What are the things that the poet thinks about when he is unable to sleep? The poet thinks about flock of sheep, the sound of rain and murmuring bees, and fall of rivers, winds and seas, smooth fields, white sheets of water and pure sky when he is unable to sleep. He imagines these all things in his mind. According to the poet, what is the barrier between one day and another? Sleep is the barrier between one day and another. Why does poet think that sleep is important? Sleep is important because without sleep, morning would be the waste. If you don't sleep, your next day will not go good. So, sleep is important because without sleep, the morning would be a waste. What is sleep the mother of? Sleep is the mother of fresh thoughts and joyous health. Next, read and answer. You have to match the following. When the poet is unable to sleep, he thinks about flock of sheep, sound of rain and bees, the fall of the river, the winds and the seas. Next, second one. The small birds melodious and cuckoos cry will tell the poet that it is morning. It indicates that it is morning. The poet hasn't been able to sleep for 3 nights. The poet hasn't been able to sleep for 3 nights. The poet asks sleep to come so that the night is not wasted. Last one, the poet calls sleep the mother of fresh thoughts and joyous health. Value-based question is for you. I hope this is understood, students. Thank you.